Alright guys, and welcome back to the Saints the channel for something content for our first video of 2021. Hopefully it can be a better year for us and for the channel. But we're looking ahead in this one to our first game of the year at home to the champions, Liverpool. Doesn't really get much tougher than that. Can we pick up our first win in the league against Jurgen Klopp's side in almost 5 years? Or will it be another miserable evening against the Reds? But before we get into it, do make sure you've hit that subscribe button with your notifications turned on. Follow us on our socials as well. Of course, this video is kindly sponsored by the guys over at Pitch Sport. So if you haven't downloaded that app yet, why haven't you? The link is in the description below. Right, let's get into it. As always, let's talk about Saints and the last two games really, because they came so close to one another. 2-0 nils to end the year off. It wasn't ideal, of course. Fulham away, West Ham at home. I think really we were looking at 4 points at least, but we got 2. And it's 2 clean sheets with a couple of injuries and suspensions in there. It's not the end of the world, but of course I think particularly the Fulham game was quite disappointing. West Ham, on another day we could have lost that. On another day we could have won it, but in the end I think a point was all right, given as well the fact that we've struggled in recent years against the Hammers. But for me, yeah, quite underwhelming end to the year. 4 without a win now. And there have been a couple of games in there where, like I've just said, you want to win on paper. There have been games where we've created the chances to get something. I think Man City probably deserved to get something from that. Arsenal should have beaten them as well. So, it's kind of ifs, buts and maybes at the moment. And we really want to get back to winning ways. Thankfully, our position in the table isn't bad. We're 9th, but I think level on points with 6th, 7th and 8th, which is kind of proving how mad the season's still being. So we're not in a bad position whatsoever, in my opinion. Get 1 win again, and we're back in contention for the European spaces, which is still a very good place to be. But I think the players have looked tired. They looked a bit fatigued in the last couple of games. Of course, you always have it with this Christmas period. That's just hectic when you're playing 2 games in like 3 or 4 days. But I think really, you could argue all of December we've looked quite tired, a bit leggy. There have definitely been some players in there who haven't been at their best. I think Stuart Armstrong's a good example of that, just not really at the level he usually is. I think he's looked tired. He's been rested in games before, and also playing on this left-hand side, it's not really his position. So I think he's a good example of just a player who might need a bit of a break, because in the Brighton game, we weren't at our best. Sheffield United, we cruised because they were so poor. I think there have been some games where really I've kind of thought, yeah, these boys need a rest now. And in fairness, a rest is coming up with the cup tie against Shrewsbury on Saturday. Quite favourable that we've got a League One side at home. I think that'll give Ralph a good opportunity to play a few youngsters. Of course, I want us to take the cup seriously, and we'll talk about that in the preview later on in the week. But for me, I think we'll use that as an opportunity to rest some key players. And then that means from the Liverpool game, they'll basically have a 2-week break until, I think, Leicester, isn't it, in the league the following Saturday. So, yeah, I think we've got a break coming up. We just need to get over the line with this game. And in fairness, it's been a pretty favourable turnaround in terms of the calendar with this game, given the fact that we played last Tuesday and then, we're not playing again until the Monday. So I think that's helped us out a little bit. Basically had almost a week of preparation for the game, whereas some teams, have played Tuesday, Wednesday or whatever, and then they're playing Friday, Saturday. So, that's a benefit for us, I think. But I mentioned injuries there that have been costing us a little bit. Yannick Vestergaard, for me, has been the main sort of absence in the sense that we've clearly missed him. Defensively, we've been actually quite good. I think Jack Stevens has come in and done pretty well. Carl Walker-Peters has had 2 superb games against Fulham and West Ham. We've kept clean sheets in both, but yeah, Vestergaard's just got that passing ability where he can ping a 40-50 yard ball out wide. It splits apart defences. It's mad to think that actually we're missing our defender for his offensive qualities. So yeah, it's from set pieces as well. I think we're just missing that little bit of urgency, that extra bit of quality in the final third, which is a shame. But of course, hopefully, fingers crossed, he can be back for Leicester. We'll obviously have to see how his progress is coming along. But to have Danny Ings back against West Ham was a boost, of course. It doesn't look sharp, though, in my opinion. I think this extra week between games is going to help him massively because, you know, you always want to score and impress against your former club. And I'm sure he'll have some motivation to go and get a goal or two to get us a point, or hopefully all three against his former side. But let's talk about our opponents, Liverpool. Come down to St Mary's. Recently, they've been excellent at St Mary's. They've picked up a handful of wins. The last time we beat them in the league was, of course, that 3-2 comeback win in the 2015-16 season when a certain Sadio Mane scored a brace. But as an outsider, it seems like it's been a really odd, strange season for Liverpool. Of course, champions of England, well deserved. During the restart, they were a bit up and down, but of course, they'd clinched the title. They didn't really need to go on and do exceptionally well. They took their foot off the gas a little bit. But having a look at their results, it's been a bit up and down, a bit of inconsistency. You know, they've had some very key players come out injured for lengthy spells. Van Dijk, of course, is the main one with that ACL injury, but it seems like the defence has really suffered in terms of casualties. All in all, they've still got some very, very, very good players, especially going forwards. They've still got their front three, and, you know, of course, they're the ones you fear, your likes of Salah, Firmino, and Sadio Mane. And they've maintained their exceptional home form, but away from home, it's not really worked out for them, winning 2 of their 8 league games away from home. One of those is being a 7-0 thrashing of Crystal Palace a couple of weeks ago, which was just a freak result. I mean, they were just exceptional on the day. But a couple of draws at Brighton, Fulham and Newcastle, I think that should give Saints hope in the sense that they can come away and pick something up, because those 3 teams, we've taken points off of. Fulham, we got a draw, and the other 2 we've beaten. But regardless of the freak results, you know, losing 7-2 to Villa, drawing at home to West Brom the other week, they're still top of the table. They're still technically the best team in the league at the moment. And of course, they're very dangerous and we've got to fear them. But it does feel like this is probably the best opportunity Saints have had for a couple of years to get something against Liverpool. But of course, I'm no expert on Liverpool, so I got Mick from the Copite to come on and give us some opposition insight. I spoke to him as well about Saints, so if you want to go check that out, the link will be in the description below. But Mick, mate, take it away.
In terms of Liverpool's season, we're top of the league. That's all you can ask for, really. We've not been playing amazing football as we were last year, where we won the title after so long without it. And I think because we've came to the stage now where we've dropped quite a few points away from home. I think we've won 11 points from an available 24 points, and that's not good enough if we want to retain the Premier League title. So things need to change, and they need to change fast. I mean, we've lost Van Dijk and Gomez, which for me is our first choice centre-half partnership at the back there. So that's going to have an effect on any team. It doesn't matter what team in world football, if you take away the 2 main centre-halves out, you're going to struggle. Just luckily that Fabinho's gone in there and took to it like a duck to water at the back there, alongside we've had like Nat Phillips, who's 23 and recently made his Premier League debut, and we've had Reece Williams as well, who's also made his debut, who's 19. So it's been difficult, but we're still top of the league, joint points with Man United. Away form, like I said, needs to change, but coming up against Southampton, it's going to be tricky, we know that. I mean, I was surprised when I looked at the recent fixtures, and Southampton haven't beat us in the league, obviously at your ground, since 2016, I think. So that surprised me a little bit, because it's always a tricky place to go. I spoke to Dan, obviously, Dan Hargraves from your channel, The Saints View, about Danny Ings being fired up for this one. I imagine he'll be majorly up for this one. I mean, I know you're missing the likes of Vestergaard and Redmond, so for me that's good news for us. But I'm just hoping that we can. It's going to be a great game anyway. It's going to be a great game. Two managers that have got great attacking emphasis, and they won't waver from that. I mean, we've came up against West Brom and Newcastle in the last 2 games, and it was just horrendous to watch. If you haven't got that creative spark, you really struggle, and I think it might play into our hands against Southampton if Hasenhüttl sets you up to high press. It could work. It might work now and again. Like, I imagine Danny Ings will get a few chances to score, and I expect him to take at least one of them, especially with a makeshift centre-half partnership, like I said. So I imagine there's going to be goals in it. I'm going to go for a Liverpool 2-1 win, hopefully, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was a 2-2 draw, a score draw, because like I said, we're missing key personnel back there, and coming up against Danny Ings will be a real test for Fabinho and I imagine Nat Phillips at the back there. So that'll be a good one. But yeah, I hope it's a good one, boys. See you in a bit.
Really appreciate you doing that, mate. Thank you. Of course, all of Mick's links will be in the description below. But onto the predicted lineup. I don't think we're going to see that much of a difference in terms of changes from the West Ham team. Danny Ings is still in contention. Vestergaard's not. Redmond, I don't believe, is either. So in goal, I think it's going to be Alex McCarthy, no doubt about that. There have been talks on social media that potentially there's been some absence from training from him, whether he's injured or it's a COVID-related thing. So God knows what that's all about, because there hasn't been a press conference as I'm filming this. So maybe Fraser Forster. But yeah, I hope Alex McCarthy is in goal. In terms of the back four, I think it's going to be unchanged. No need to put Salisu in. Ralph's already said that the cup tie against Shrewsbury's the best opportunity for him to make his debut. Jack Stevens, God knows why there's been slander against him, because I think he's come in and done a great job in the 2 games he's been about. Some people saying his positioning is bad, he makes people nervous. But at the end of the day, I think fans are forgetting that he was our best centre-back last year. And I know he didn't have a good start to the season, but he's still he's a good option. So I think the slander's been really unfair. Kyle Walker-Peters, man of the match in the Fulham and West Ham games, absolutely unreal. Going on to the midfield, I think it's going to be Oriol Romeu and James Ward-Prowse. I expect Prowse to be starting every game, playing 90 minutes. And Oriol came back against West Ham after a suspension, and I think he did a really solid job. I think it was great. And he's had a great season so far, so absolutely no reason to change that. And then wingers, I think it's going to be Theo Walcott and Stuart Armstrong. Hopefully Walcott on the left and Armstrong on the right, because I just feel like having Armstrong on the left recently, we've not seen him at his best at all. And it's so clear that he's better suited to the right-hand side. I thought Walcott had a decent game against West Ham, poor against Fulham, so it's just hot and cold really for him. And then up front, I think it's going to be Danny Ings and Shea Adams. Shea had a difficult game against West Ham, really quiet. I think the knock in the head from Craig Dawson when he literally volleyed his skull was, possibly to a contributor to that. But yeah, I think Shea's been great this season, and absolutely no reason why we'd be starting anyone else if Shea is injured or we don't want to risk him, or Ings can't play, which for whatever reason, because they've both been in training, it seems. Maybe have Dan and Ndulu in there. I'd like to see him get his debut, but of course it'd probably be more likely to be Shane Long. And then finally, my prediction for the game. Of course, recent results from Liverpool away at, no disrespect, but lesser teams, your Brightons, your Fulhams, your Newcastles. The fact that they haven't been able to win those games away from home just gives me a bit of hope that we can come away with something here. I don't think we'll win the game. I think I'd be mad to predict a win for us at the moment, but I can see us picking up a point. I think we'll battle. I think it'll be a close game. I think it's going to be a really entertaining game, actually, with 2 high-pressing sides. I think it's going to finish 1-1. That's good. That's optimistic, of course. It's hard to predict and really strongly believe that you're going to pick something up against the champions. But I feel like this is our best opportunity to take points off of them for a while, and I think we can do it. We're definitely capable of it. I've got no doubt about that. But that is it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed it, leave it a like and subscribe if you haven't yet already. Let me know in the comment section below your score predictions and how you're feeling ahead of the Liverpool game. Follow us on our socials if you haven't yet already, and we'll see you soon for another video.
Let's go,